a long time about doing this review for the Passat, mainly because at the moment, and I can't help it, in this review I'm going to have to mention the Dieselgate thing. And I know it's a horrible phrase, everything is in gate since Watergate. It wasn't coined by me, I didn't start it, but it seems to be the most familiar terminology. And it's Volkswagen have been caught by a scandal. That's what basically it amounts to. And for those who don't understand, here's a quick synopsis of it. In the United States, diesel is not a popular fuel, mainly because of NOx emissions, which is a different emission than CO2. It's an emission that can cause serious health problems in humans and anything that breathes oxygen, because it's a terrible fume stuff. And America bases most of what it does on NOx, not CO2, and so diesel engines are not popular over there. In Europe, we base most of what we do on CO2 emissions, not NOx. So in America, Volkswagen were making inroads into the diesel market when a couple of guys got together and decided to do a test of the car and found that CO2 emissions were entirely different on the road versus on a rolling road. The car had some sort of detection system that knew when it was being tested for NOx and turned the NOx emissions all the way down. Hence, Volkswagen cheated. Now, so far, they're the ones who got caught cheating. The mere fact is we shouldn't have been letting car manufacturers tell us what their CO2 emissions are. And that's what's been going on. That's what's been happening since the dawn of cars. Car companies test their cars themselves in their own systems and their own tracks and give us their fuel economy numbers, and they give us their CO2 emissions, their NOx figures. They give it to us. There's no independent body doing it until the car is, 5 years old and it's reaching NCT time. And when it gets to the NCT, then we're told what the CO2 emissions are. The car's 5 years old at that stage, long gone by. The system isn't VW's fault, and that's where the fault actually is in the system, not in the car companies. If you look at any of the sports out there today, any of the athletic sports where all these pointing of fingers is going on, that people are getting caught doping, cycling, every sport seems to be subject to it. The problem is the rules, not the sport. Very hard to get diesels for sale in America, yet America demand better fuel economy. They're not going to get it any better from a petrol engine now at this stage. They really aren't. Now they have the choice of diesel, and of course to get by the NOx emissions, once the rule is there, the rules get bent, they get broken, and then they realise the offset of that is that they can lower their CO2 emissions, which means in this country that their car is in a better tax band. And because Irish people are dumb enough to buy a car based on its CO2 emission, see this end of cycle, we can sell more because our CO2 emissions are lower, we can sell bigger cars because our CO2 emissions is lower. We'll have to cheat the emissions to make them even lower, but Now all that out of the way, that's the end of that. I don't know any more than you do. You've seen it all reported in the news. Volkswagen will sweep it away, forget about it after a while. So will government agencies, so will the German government. They'll all, oh God, we messed up. Terrible. Sorry, let's continue. That's what's going to happen eventually. At the end of all of that, Volkswagen still makes some of the best cars money can buy. There you go. That's it. They make the happiest range of cars ever. And I know they're cheating. I know, I get it. But I'm not looking at the NOx emissions coming out of the back of this car. I'm looking at what this car is capable of doing for me. This car can drive itself. It has active cruise control. It has active parking system, so it's able to park itself as well. It does a bloody good job at that. It gets into spaces even I wouldn't tackle. And it's able to do it a lot quicker these days than before. Here's some footage right there. This is the Volkswagen Passat. This, in my opinion, is the king of its segment. The price is still too high for this one. These ones are, I think, in excess of 50 grand. That's because of all the options on it. Would I buy a Passat? Would I buy a Mondeo? Would I buy a Mazda 6? Would I buy a Skoda Octavia? Would I buy... Oh my God. I'd love to be in your position. If you're watching this video and you're considering buying one of these cars, I would love to be in your position, because number one, you've got money, which is good. Number two, you've got a loan somewhere, a PCP, this is also good. Number three, you've got enough clout in you now to negotiate quite a price for yourself. The reason I would want your choice is because you have choice. You have an enormous choice. In my head, I can sum it up to being this. If you want saloon sporty, you want a Mazda 6. If you want a saloon that doesn't quite know exactly what it is yet, is a Mondeo. It's not quite sporty, it's not quite saloon, it's not quite, I don't know what it is. It's very hard to, I don't think Ford know what it is either, but I'm sure they'll figure it out eventually. If you want really clever systems, really clever car, really cutting edge, gorgeous looking, the best looking estate on the market today, you want a Skoda Octavia. If you want something that's absolutely enormous, you want a Skoda Superb. If you want something that has just the cutting edge style, just beautiful, pin sharp, handsome, understated, absolutely technically perfect in every respect, then you want a Volkswagen Passat. That's what it comes down to. This is like cathedral quiet in here. If this was 10 years ago and I was reviewing this car, it would probably be Bentley. That's what I'd be looking at in here. This style, this beautiful dash, this ability to park itself, this ability to drive itself. You're looking at Bentley here. And look what I'm driving. A Passat, right? This isn't a Bentley. This isn't a Rolls Royce. This isn't a Corniche. This isn't an Aston Martin. This is none of these things. This is a sales rep's car. And it feels like I'm driving a Bentley. And like I said, if it was 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I'd be sitting in the front of a Bentley now. I can't recommend a car more than I am in this one. And I'm going to forgive, it's a lot of hoo-ha, but the cheat is the cheat. The cheat is done for profit. It was done for money. It was done because it had to be done at the time. It was a decision that was made and it trickled throughout the whole system. It hasn't stopped Volkswagen making some of the best cars that you can buy on the market today. Okay, so that's it for the Volkswagen Passat. Please subscribe down the bottom. Thank you very, very much for watching all the videos, but subscribe down the bottom. Make sure you subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter. You can actually sponsor me on Patreon as well, and I will see you on the far side.